showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
Welcome to episode 243 of I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name's Chris Hollifield.
And I'm Chrissy Shelley.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back week after week as we continue the journey here in Salt Lake City, chatting with locals, professionals, everyday people that are doing some really cool things in this awesome city of ours. Today on the podcast, we have 3 interviews that we did at the Get Media Ready event that happened at Club 50 West in downtown Salt Lake City. The event happened on Saturday, September 10th. It was a great event. I know you had a great time, Chrissy.
Oh, man, I did. It was a full-day event, and they had speakers all day, lots of networking opportunities. The speakers were amazing.
They really were. And so what we did is we took our podcast equipment, our portable recorders, our microphones. We set up a table in the green room where we invited people from the event to come back and chat with us, find out their story. So in these interviews, we got a lot of the, ambiance sound and the music, and it wasn't as quiet as our typical studio recordings.
Right. Well, it was a very lively event. So
a lot of music.
Yeah.
A lot of music.
And we got to share the green room with the drag queens who performed.
That was actually a struggle, an obstacle, but quite fun.
But it was real. I mean, they were really awesome ladies, I should say.
No, they were, and they were, they were understanding.
They were.
And originally we were going to set up our recording stuff in the front in the big open room, but
right underneath a loudspeaker.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked out very well. But we got a handful of interviews with some great people. Like I said, on this episode, we're going to be playing 3 of those conversations. The first conversation is actually going to be with the organizers of the event, Nineveh Madsen, Liz Galloway, and Kathryn Christiansen. And then after that, we're going to jump into a conversation that we had with Shauna Ekstrom. She was actually one of the speakers that day. She wrote a book, didn't she?
She wrote a book called Beyond the Red Doors. It's about Heartfelt Network Marketing.
Yeah.
She's been a hairdresser for her whole life until she found network marketing and really thrives on it. So,
and like I said, we'll get into that conversation. And then the last conversation on this episode is with Nchopia. And I'm not going to even I'm going to butcher her last name if I even try to pronounce it. But she's with an organization called Young Professionals Salt Lake City. What was really cool about this is her and I have actually been chatting through Twitter for a while. And she was mentioning how she recommends this podcast to all the young professionals here in Salt Lake City. When I was blown away by that, I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Great. And she started the chapter here.
She did.
Yeah. And it's really cool because that's really who we want to talk to, a lot of the young professionals, and show them what Salt Lake is. It's a growing area. People are coming here for work.
Absolutely.
Check us out,
And so it was cool to be able to say, oh, hey, good to meet you, first of all. Thanks for being a listener. And B, let's bring you back in the green room and chat with you.
Yeah, it was really cool to talk to her. And it was fun because I saw people walking up to her. Oh my gosh, I know you from Instagram. You could see all the people finally meeting each other in real life there.
And then networking. It was a great event. I'm looking forward to the next one. We'll be posting more of those interviews on future episodes of I Am Salt Lake, because like I said, we chatted.
We got quite a few interviews.
And I didn't want to bog down one episode with a ton of them. So make sure to subscribe to the podcast in iTunes or however you listen to podcasts. That way you'll get it sent right to your phone. Let's talk about our sponsors, though, Chrissy. We got to talk about our sponsors.
We have great
Give them
sponsors.
some love before we get into the interviews. Distillery 36.
One of my favorite sponsors.
Brigham Rum. We're actually drinking some today.
Yes.
They're wonderful.
They are. They mix with pretty much everything.
Put a little rum, put a little, Coke, Pepsi.
Even juice.
Juice.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's a smooth beverage.
Distillery36.com is their website. Head on over there. Find out more about them. Pick up a bottle next time you go to one of the local liquor stores.
You probably won't want to try anything else afterwards.
I don't want to try anything else.
I know, me neither. And it's so, it's good on your body. It feels better on your body than other things, too.
A couple more dollars, for a quality rum.
Yep.
It's worth it.
It really is.
You don't wake up feeling like garbage the next day. Mm-hmm. I love it. Distillery 36, distillery36.com. Our next sponsor, Oleo the Skin and Beard.
Yes.
They've been a longtime sponsor of the podcast.
They have. And I always talk about my young daughter. My daughter is hooked. She'll tell me, Mom, I stopped using Oleo for 2 days and my skin looks terrible.
So don't stop using Oleo.
She has to use it all the time. She knows. It just works. It helps a lot, especially for young girls with acne. Male, female, really anybody, men, women. I use it for my, I get the beard oils for my beards. And I get the face scrubs and face salts. It's really high quality. That's the thing you can't get anywhere. And they're made right here in Salt Lake City. Yep. Oleoskin.com. Check out their website. Buy it directly online. Also, check them out at the farmers markets and all that, and give them some love. Before we get into the conversations that we had at Get Media Ready, I want to thank our two most recent Patreon supporters, Brian Young and Rob Knight. Two great individuals. Yeah, thank you so much. Brian Young actually does a really great podcast called Full of Sith. Oh, yeah. It's a great Star Wars podcast, so make sure to check that out. And Rob Knight is my nephew. He's a pretty cool dude. Yeah, he just thinks this podcast is the greatest thing ever, which it is the greatest thing really ever. So thank you guys for being our Patreon supporters. We have some great rewards up there. We're releasing some extra content episodes. Yep, and we're going to even work on future rewards that'll be more amazing. We just added a reward where you can actually come into our podcast studio, watch us do some of these interviews. Yeah, we have a really comfy couch, you guys. You can come sit on our couch and watch us talk. Go to iamsaltlake.com and click on the little Patreon banner that Chrissy made up in the right-hand corner, and that will send you over to Patreon, and you can check it out. I mean, become a Patreon supporter even for as little as $1, and everything helps. You'll help the podcast out. I want to get into the conversations, though, now that happen at Get Media Ready. And then we'll be back. We'll chat some more after all these conversations. So see you on the other side. See you on the other side, guys. This one's going to be a little bit interesting. So we're back in the green room here at 50 West at the Get Media Ready event. Which was supposed to be called the Get Media Ready Bitches. Get Media Ready, exactly. Which I love. Well, we'll get into that. We're here. I'm going to actually let the three of you introduce yourselves to the listeners right now. Go ahead and start with yourself.
Great. So my name is Kathryn Christiansen. I'm actually the owner and founder of My Business Bar, which was Utah's first co-working business center. So for people that don't understand what co-working is, it's drop-in workspace, office space, virtual offices, desk space, that type of thing. So it's business support services. And one of the co-founders of GMR.
All right, I'm next. My name is Liz Galloway, and I am the founder of Latitude 38 Luxury Adventures. And so we do pop-up base camps, and that basically means we create a pop-up hotel for you in the middle of a desert somewhere, and we give you luxury and pop-up and all kinds of adventure. I also work behind the scenes with Kathryn and Nineveh, who are the co-founders of GMR, and have done all their PR, media, marketing, and I'm glad to be part of the team.
All right, Nineveh, you're next.
Hey, I'm Nineveh Madsen, or Nineveh Dinha Madsen. I never know what to go with anymore, but former news broadcaster, so worked in the Salt Lake market for over 8 years at one of the local television stations in the news industry. And then about 1.5 years ago, decided to leave the broadcast industry to launch my own online women's magazine called Her Magazine, which is available in the iTunes App Store. And one of the co-founders of Get Media Ready. So it's been really an amazing ride organizing this event, and we've had a blast doing it, and it's late at night and it's almost over, but the party's still going.
Yeah, the party's still going. And I mean, obviously the three of you have your own businesses as well as doing this great event, which I find so fascinating, because it's like, how do you manage your time? How do you keep yourself driven? How did you not want to throw the towel in and say, forget it, I don't even want to do it? I mean, what kept you going?
Who do you want to answer that question?
I'm actually going to start with that because, Chris, as a business owner, I've got a couple of different businesses. I'm a single mom. I mean, there's a lot of different moving parts that are happening in my day-to-day. But at the end of the day, I'm coming in contact with so many business owners that are trying to navigate media, trying to get stories told, trying to get their businesses on the map. And I wish I would have had that kind of experience. I wish I would have had those kind of mentors and relationships even 3 and 4 years ago. I think it would have catapulted my business in a way that I could have avoided some of the pitfalls and some of the learning, which I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for those pitfalls and those learning experiences.
So you feed off of the other people's energy, I'm sure, right?
Absolutely.
To keep your own business going.
Absolutely.
And
so that's a good bonus of taking on too many projects.
Well, it is. You want to bring something to the table that's going to be valuable for other business owners, and you want to show them that there's a way to navigate and get around, a lot of those obstacles. And that's really rewarding to me because, again, I didn't have those opportunities. So to be able to put something like this together, to be able to put a team like this together, and pull something off like we did today in a very short amount of time, mind you. I mean, usually an event of this magnitude takes years to prepare and prep. And I think people would be really surprised at when this kind of the inception of this happened and what we were able to do today.
Well, I mean, it was a heck of an event. It's been a heck of a day. I mean, great speakers. I mean, talk about that. Unless Liz and Nineveh want to add in on that.
I'd love to chime in.
Chime in.
You asked one of those questions about how did you not throw in the towel and all that. So I'm a fairly new entrepreneur, new to the game of being a businesswoman. I would say, been an employee really most of my life. So when Kathryn originally approached me about doing this event, I thought, yeah, that'll be really great. So you're going to organize it and I'll just hook you up with some media people and it'll be good to go, right? Yeah. She said, yeah, absolutely. That's what we'll do. So I had no idea what kind of ride I was in for. And then we brought Liz on board because she's a marketing and PR genius, and she's very well known in the community, has got great connections. She's shaking her head, no, stop it. Give yourself some credit.
The only reason anyone even knows GMR is on the map right now is because of Liz Galloway.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll say personally, I struggled with, I think when you're a new business owner, you have a lot of fears that you have to work through, and you question yourself, you question your capability. Even though I was confident in my former news life, entrepreneurship is a whole different ball game. I always say it's for warriors. You've got to be a warrior to be a business person. And so it speaks to my competitive spirit. But there were many moments while we were organizing the event, since we're on the podcast and we're being honest, where I was scared, what's going to happen? Is this event are we going to be able to pull it off? And those were just my own internal struggles and fears. And my husband would say, quit sabotaging yourself. It's going to be fine. Just have to trust in the process. And so when Kathryn mentioned the word team, I think that's what it all comes down to. So being a solopreneur would be very tough. But I think having a team, keeping each other going. So if one of us had a moment and we're like, I don't know about this, then you had other people saying it's going to be fine. And so relying on each other's strengths in that way is really, it's the team effort that, we couldn't have done it individually alone, I don't think anyway, but
I could have. I'm gonna just. I'm just kidding.
No, and I like that. You could have done it, and that's. But
no, I don't know if I could have. I could have pulled something fabulous off on my own, but I'm not negating what went on behind the scenes and the concept and the inception of it. But speaking to the background of entrepreneurship and all of that, I've been in business for myself over 15 years in some aspect. Always some kind of marketing, media, PR, something along those lines, whether it's international, domestic. I spent 8 years overseas living in Morocco, Costa Rica, Spain, all these places. And I have a very diverse background. And I think it only opens up more of my impression to just collaborate with more creative people, open up things, and not make people who may think that they're not relevant, or maybe in our community that's a little bit more conservative than other people, that they're like, well, maybe that's not for me or something, to bring them into the fold. I think that's huge.
Yeah, we
just open it up really, really big. Yeah.
We absolutely wanted to bridge that gap. We wanted everybody to feel like they were welcome, that they were relevant, they had a story to tell. It didn't matter, gender, age, race, anything. There's a lot of stereotypes out there, even when it comes to age in business. And we wanted to give those business owners a voice. We wanted to show everybody that there is a place to come in, have a great time, get a little bit rowdy, and learn from these amazing experts.
I think one of you mentioned the inception of it, kind of, you made it sound like it really wasn't that long ago when you thought of the idea, right?
Yep. I'll talk a little bit about that.
Has it been for 5 months?
It was about January, February. And, just the nature of what I do for business, a lot of networking and lunch and learns and what have you. So I first went to Nineveh. We met for tea, of all things. And which have I ever had tea in my life?
That's really strange, actually.
But she suggested tea, so I thought, maybe
why not?
Let's go out
I should probably do tea. But
I wasn't sure. You're blonde. I thought maybe you were into tea and not wine.
Yeah, well, we learned really quickly. But we met for tea, and I said, "Listen, I've got this idea to do."
And was it the first time the two of you have ever met?
Ever met.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Really?
Ever met. We'd met a couple of weeks before that at a networking event downtown. But, we got together, and I said, I've got this idea for a workshop. I'd love to teach women specifically how to act and be behind the camera, how to do image. And it just spiraled out of control from that point forward.
I think Kathryn alluded to this during the event, and she said, originally we talked about doing a workshop on how to be camera ready, so bridging the gap between business, Kathryn being a very experienced business owner and holding events at her space, and just doing a little workshop for women and teaching them how to be confident on camera and how to, create that message effectively if they were to ever be interviewed by the media or a blogger or a podcaster. How do you create those sound bites? How do you speak eloquently? How do you get your message across? And then we realized very quickly that it just grew into something bigger. And I think even being in business myself, I've realized that business owners, even though I feel like I understand media because I've been part of the industry, I thought everybody else had that knowledge as well. But I quickly realized that wasn't the case. And so it evolved, and then we decided to turn it into an event, and it just grew from there. And then
so how did Liz get in?
So I've known Kathryn for, I'd say a year and a half or so, and we've worked on some collaborative projects, and my background is PR and marketing. And I was just approached and said, this is the concept. What do you think about that? And I was like, oh, can I swear on this show?
You can swear.
I was like, oh, hell no. But then I was, we talked, and I do love.
Then they bought you enough wine to get you to say yes.
Yeah, that could have been. There was some specialty involved, but no. The thing is, they talked to me about that concept. I've never not been supportive of the concept of other entrepreneurs and all of this, and being in it myself for so long and having to DIY my own PR before I knew how to do this stuff. Because when I was doing all this paid media back in the day and it wasn't working, just like our speakers were saying today, how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you actually break the wall? It takes a lot of effort, and honestly, it's a full-time job. When you're, that's why there's PR agents, because you have to go out and talk. So I ended up coming in. I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to jump on board. I'm just going to put, both feet in and have fun with it. We all have our businesses behind the scenes that we run. But this has become kind of a baby monster, I have to say, but not in a bad way.
A true labor of love is what it has become. But.
Yeah. But it turned out fabulous, and the response that we got today, I think it makes it all worth it in my mind.
Liz, I have a question. Are you on board next year? We're going to put you on the spot.
I think this whole event is already sold out for next year, so that's all I have to say.
I believe it. It was packed.
There was a lot of people here. There was a lot. So what do you know now that for next year? I mean, or that you wished I would have. You're like, I wished I would have known that in the beginning. Is there anything, one or two things that you...
As far as the event is concerned?
Sure.
Or, oh, wow. Well, that's kind of an open-ended question. When you're behind the scenes and you're watching all of the logistics happen, I've got gobs of notes. There's gobs of things we're going to change next year.
Tons of things.
But the key is really to make sure that your audience doesn't know that you're back there scrambling and
keep
making
calm,
sure that everything, keep
collective.
calm and just make sure things are moving and everything seems like it's flowing. But we've got gobs of notes for next year.
I would just say, to make it even more like beyond limits and breaking boundaries and bizarre, like, let's break out the mimosas at 8 a.m. and like, let's like bring on, you know what I mean? Like, why hold back? There was some glitches behind the scenes, and it's like we talk about that, but honestly, because we did so much prep work, thank God there wasn't, we had like plan A, B, and C.
Yeah. From like a I want to say user perspective, because that's what I say at work all the time, but like a visitor perspective, it seemed very fluid. It felt like there were no breaks, nothing went wrong. It was very smooth and like really,
thank God,
really well done. And the speakers were very informative. I have like a notebook full of notes.
Yeah,
it was great. So
and that's the feedback we got, and I think that's what makes it worth it. Because I mean, why would we do this otherwise, right?
Right.
Why would you torture yourselves if they're...
It's a lot of torture. But one of the questions that I asked is, I mean, for me, because I'm a natural, I've been a storyteller and I'm a reporter at heart. And so I just went around and got to know all of the attendants. And I just asked them, who are your 2 favorite speakers? And then what would you do what would you like to see next year? And so I think it's when you heard Ty Bennett speaking today.
Oh my gosh, brilliant.
Wasn't he amazing?
Yeah,
he said, make it about them. It's not about you. If you write, so for example, he said, if you write the book for the writer, you're writing it for your ego. But if you write it for your audience, then that's how you can create a bestseller. And so I think I took a lot out of that myself, and I went around and I asked people, so who are your 2 favorites and what would you change about it? What do you want to see next year? And we got a lot of incredible feedback, but I know that next year we'll bring even more powerful speakers, and we'll just make it more of a party. And as we're talking,
we already have
with drag queens in the background right now.
Yeah, we're in the dressing room here with some drag queens.
There's no.
That is true.
No, there's lots of queens here, and
ladies.
There's queens here, but they're sitting down being interviewed.
I love how you guys really have decided to host an event for women in Salt Lake who want to do things and who want to learn how to promote themselves as well as work on their own businesses, because there's not a lot of resources. There's some meetup groups, there's a few things here and there, but for the most part, you're kind of looked down upon if you want to work and if you want to be a quote-unquote strong woman and do things here. And the other support isn't as beneficial as actually learning things. There's nowhere to go to study and keep growing and keep doing things. And this is a great asset for women who want to keep moving up the ladder and working hard to improve their image and their business. So this is a really unique, cool idea and a great place to bring it.
Yeah.
I just want to give you a high five.
Can I jump in on that?
Please,
okay.
Yes.
So you kind of referenced something, and what clicked in my head first was creating a tribe. And women kind of were attracted to that, but we didn't actually facilitate this event solely towards women.
Oh, really?
It's kind of funny. It just turned into that. There was some men in the audience. There was few and far between, but they were happy to be there. We don't want it necessarily to be towards women, even though they need those resources. But we've created a tribe, and that tribe is following us and the people and the partners and the sponsors and people like you that we bring on, and that's what they're looking for. That is huge. So that's a big part of it.
In this chat, is there like a motto or piece of advice that you would leave with the listeners, each one of you? Something that you live by, maybe?
What I live by, know your strengths, then know your weaknesses, and surround yourself with the people that are stronger than you in the places that you're weak. So that way you can accomplish hopefully everything that you want to, but it sure makes it a heck of a lot easier.
So I got, my husband wrote me a card for this event. I know it's really cheesy and cute, but I have a lot of mantras, but something that stuck out to me that he wrote to me was, he says, I wouldn't call you fearless. I'd call you a person who has a lot of fear, but breaks past that anyway. And so I thought, oh, that's interesting. You're right. I do have a lot of fears. I'm not fearless. I haven't met many people who are fearless, and I think we always say, be fearless. You're fearless. She's fearless. And then the people who do have a lot of fear, that makes you feel like, well, I'm not her. I'm not him, because I'm definitely not fearless. But the truth is that most of us have a lot of fear. The difference is, how do you break through? How do you push through? So I just want people to realize that even the person that looks like they have it all together, that they're successful, they have the same fears that you do. They get nervous. They're scared. All they do is they find a way to push through. So if you can just realize that I'm you and you're me.
Everyone's human.
Else, exactly.
And I think that's super important. And that was another thing that I got out of today, is that everyone kind of came together and said, yeah, it's hard. It's hard for all of us. Let's just keep doing it. I think that's one of the big things that people won't tell you, because everyone wants to look successful and they want to look like they have it made and they don't have any fear.
Exactly. Well, the irony in a lot of this entire event for me is trying to create that persona and teach people something that I'm not even comfortable doing. And these two can attest to that. And here I'm trying to, create this image and this platform and bring speakers and education and all of these things to the forefront for these women, because I want them to speak their truth. I want them to learn how to tell their stories. We all have so many valuable assets and things that we can bring to the table, right? And yet I don't want to be on TV. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to go on stage. And so it's been a really interesting kind of contrast in having to push past my own, not really being comfortable doing any of that, not really wanting to necessarily, but having to lead by example, so that women feel like they can do the same thing.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And if I had to end my wise words, my what woman wise wolf words, I don't know, what do they call that?
WWW? I don't know.
I would just say we're all in this together, and the only people that are afraid of your strength are insecure people, and that's really what it comes down to. But I did, if we have a moment, want to speak towards a little bit of what goes on behind the scenes, like the stuff that we had to create. And all I can say about that is, like, when we process this after the fact, right? And we're going to say,
after sleeping for 12 hours,
what was this worth, know? Besides everything that came out of it and everybody that benefited and all the goodness that came out of it, we do track that behind the scenes, and that includes all the stuff that our speakers talked about today. And it's SEO, it's all of our landing pages, our bounce pages, our sales funnels, all of that, tracking all those analytics, all those things that go into all the apps that are on our website that kick everything back, whether it's, something as simple as an abandoned cart. Like, those things matter, and a lot of our people that are trying to sell things don't understand those small things. And I just want to say that that's part of the tracking of your media. And I think we've all talked about this, but the big picture, when everybody was up on stage, was like, it's TV and it's press releases and it's this, and you have to hit the news director. But in the meantime, you still have to have a website and a sales funnel and tracking it and the analytics. And that stuff really matters. I was just about to say shit, but
you can say whatever.
Say
that shit really matters. But
say it all you want.
We track it all because
That's
it
awesome.
does matter.
Well, and it's true. You have to be prepared so that when you have the media attention, or when you are talking to someone, you're up and ready. And I think a lot of people get too excited to get out there without focusing on the small details like that. SEO was we talked about a lot today, actually.
Huge.
It was really huge, and it was motivational. It was very. Now I'm going to go type a lot.
It matters.
Let's run down the list. How can people, website information, contact information, what's the best way to get a hold of each of you?
Probably the best way right now is just go to the website, getmediaready.co. We're active on Facebook and, all the social media. The handle is Get Media Ready. You can.
And your own businesses. Say your business again, just for the recording too.
So my business is actually called My Business Bar, and same thing. Website mybusinessbar.com, and to reach me personally is Kathryn at mybusinessbar.com.
Liz?
All right. So Liz Galloway, Latitude 38 Luxury Adventures. You can find it on latitude38.com. I mean, not the number, all spelled out. And same with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
All right, so Nineveh Madsen, and you can find her magazine online. It's her magazine, hermag.co, so it's hermag.co. And then we just launched into the iTunes App Store. So if you just type in the App Store, her magazine, it'll pop up. You'll know that it's my app and the magazine, so I'm super excited about that. We'll be releasing in Google Play soon. And then you can reach me at n@hermag.co. So you don't have to know how to spell my name.
Just the letter N.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Anything else you want to add before I let the three of you go? And
yes, I want to say a really awesome thank you to I Am Salt Lake podcast.
Well, thank you.
For being one of our media sponsors and coming in here and spending the day with us. It was a lot of work. I know it was. You know it was. You guys were in here early in the morning and you're here late at night. And I think it's amazing. And I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We've had a lot of fun.
We really have. It's been an amazing day. And everyone should go to this next year.
And for you, it's Shauna Ekstrom. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Ekstrom.
Ekstrom. Where should we start, Chrissy? Should we find out a little bit about your business, what it is that you do, what it is that brought you here today?
Okay. So what brought me here today was I met Nineveh and John Madsen at a Tony Robbins event just a few weeks ago, actually.
Really?
Yes, we were at
That's
a business mastery. So my husband and I were there, and we were sitting in an area real close to them, and over the time, we became a team. We had 8 people on a team that we were working on our businesses. We all are entrepreneurs. And so
That's awesome.
we got to know each other, and she told me about this event and invited me to come and speak.
So tell me about your business. What is
my
your
business now is I'm in network marketing.
Okay.
And I have been in this particular business for 14 years.
Which is what now?
Network marketing, like...
Well, yeah, no, but like what network marketing?
Oh.
There's different companies, right?
Yeah,
Network,
the company that I'm with is Isogenics.
Okay.
I'm one of the founding executives with the company. I've been there 14 years.
Oh, wow.
But what started it, it's the funny thing is here we are in Salt Lake City, and I live in Dallas, Texas now. But I grew up in Salt Lake.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We moved here in 2nd grade, so it's so exciting to me to be here.
So you came all the way from Dallas for the event?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
So when's the last time you've been to Salt Lake then?
It's been a long time.
20 years? 30 years?
Well, I moved away in 1987.
Okay.
And, of course, coming back to see relatives and that. But
what's the first thing you wanted to do when you got back here?
Oh, well, one of my favorite restaurants. We love the Mexican restaurants. They are better than any place. Even though we live in Dallas and there's a lot of good Tex-Mex, it's not like La Frontera, the one I remember.
Oh, yeah. La Frontera is good.
That was hard to leave that. But just the beauty here. I don't think growing up here you really understand the beauty as much as when you leave. And even though I moved to the Northwest is where I moved to first. So up around Seattle, it's gorgeous up there. But there's nothing like the weather here, the change of seasons, the snow, the sunshine. I miss it.
It's true. You have like a really good, solid 4 seasons here that you don't really get in a lot of other places.
Right. It's just a gorgeous place. And the people, I mean, just really good, solid family people,
What motivates you back to your business, Isogenics, your entrepreneurial journey? Okay. What motivates you? Like we all have those moments where we're just like, gosh, I can't do this anymore. I have no more steam, no more energy to do this. What motivates you?
Well, I have a passion for helping people.
Okay.
I became a hairdresser at 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
And
good for you.
I went to school at 16, graduated at 17 from cosmetology school, and was working full time. And I realized that I actually quit school to do that. And so I needed to make that my profession because that was what I did. Started a family very young. And I made that my life, the art of it. And but in doing so, if you can imagine doing hair, you're hearing stories all day long.
You're kind of a therapist
as well
absolutely.
As a hairdresser. And in fact, I started studying psychology through the years. I ended up doing hair for 34 years. So it was my complete love women and wanting them, it's sort of like being a fairy godmother and making them feel like a supermodel for a day. And inside of that, you'd see their eyes light up and you would say, wow, you really made a difference in their self-esteem. And that's what I realized that I wanted to do. But in doing so, I had kids and really didn't have the time for them. And by the time I stumbled upon network marketing, I started to do my research because I'd always been turned off by it. I've been put by the way people did it. They're always like, I felt that they were kind of pushy. And so I set out to find out if it was real, if you could really make extra income and really make a difference in people's lives. And so, not for lack of trying, I actually tried out 4 different companies, and I call that my research years. Things that I found the things I didn't like and honed in on the things I did like, which what I really found was make your strengths productive and your weaknesses irrelevant.
Sure.
There wasn't time to do too many.
I like that. That's a good life theory.
Yeah. And I still live by that because, when you're raising kids and working, and at the time I was working part-time on that business and full-time in my salon.
Oh, wow. And how many kids did you have at the time?
So I have 3 kids. But my 2 older kids, by the time I found the company that I'm with now, and by the time I kind of figured it out, which is 14 years ago, I only had 1 kid at home.
Oh,
and
that's
so
nice.
I was a single mom, and I decided that, by then I was starting to have grandkids, and I didn't have the time to go see them. So I was very excited about the possibility of having something that didn't take my direct time all day long. And by then I thought, I have a full-time job in my hairdressing, so I had to be careful not to talk too much about my other business because my clients wanted me to focus on them.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I did. I focused on them, and they saw transformation in me. I happened onto a product that side benefit was weight loss, which was very visual and very emotional to women. And I said, that's going to be a hit. My clients, how many times do women talk about weight? Every single day.
Every 30 minutes, maybe? I would say every 30 minutes.
I know.
I don't know. Men could be just as bad, though. Men could be just as bad.
Some men are. Yeah. Some men are worse.
I mean, we care how we look, too.
We do.
Everybody does. We're all vain, right?
But you do have to admit that society kind of regulates women a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
In the looks category.
I think it's absolutely true. It made sense to me that it was, if it worked, I said I'm in. If it doesn't work, I'm not telling anybody.
Sure.
So it did. From one haircut to the next, my clients saw me drop.
That's awesome.
Like 3 dress sizes.
You created a visual testimonial before you told anyone.
Oh yeah,
about
absolutely, and it worked.
Amazing.
But the thing was, I treated it like a business because anytime you treat something like a business, and basically network marketing done right in a heartfelt way is really a storytelling business. That's what it is. So I created my story. And I still create my story today, and now I have a huge team of people who I don't feel like I have to do everything. I feel like I do what I'm good at, and which is loving on people and helping build a team, and that's what I do, and that's what I love.
Gosh, don't you wish everybody could be that nice? Just love people and care about people. I mean, so many people are just out for themselves.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Well, what you're talking about reminds me a lot of Dale Carnegie. And the way that he approaches how to be, how to be successful.
Yeah, he's one of my mentors. I love him.
Exactly. He's fantastic.
Zig Ziglar, and I mean that's one of the things also that I think I loved about when I first looked at the industry and I started to realize, if this is done in a way that it's really about them, like Zig says, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get everything in life you want.
Yeah.
So I found it to work, and through doing this, I've been able to work with the people I love, which is now I met my husband through my current husband that I met we married 3 years ago. Okay. And he was in marketing and certainly wasn't interested in network marketing. He was interested in me paying him $2,000 a month to help me with media, social media. So you actually hired him? I never really gave him a check. I was going to, but awesome. I told him, he had just recently divorced and probably put on a few pounds, quite a few. And I told him, he told me how we could do this. And he was actually a dentist by profession. Oh, wow. And he was still practicing, but he was burned out.
So he was being a dentist during the day and marketing at night?
Yeah, he had learned marketing and really gotten into it.
Wow.
And my financial planner was his partner in a company they created called Dental Marketing Magic. And so they were helping dentists be found on the internet. And so his partner, who was my financial planner, Neil, said, she's created a significant business, but she's done it without any social media, anything like that. She's done it one-on-one through her clientele.
Through the power of people.
Because people talk to people. Yeah. People that love people are going to share something they believe in.
Yeah.
So that's how my business developed, and it was a very significant business by then. And so he said, I can help you. And I said, well, if you're going to help me, then I think I'm just going to give you some product, because how can you really do copy for me if you don't know what it is that I sell?
Yeah.
And so he's like, even though what I sell is really, sharing my story, the product, you have to believe in it.
Sure.
And so I said, I'll give you the product if you don't cheat. And he's like, I won't cheat. So I was kind of excited. He had kind of a big belly at the time.
But he's gotten in shape now, right?
He looks really good now.
Well, there you go.
And he was adorable then, but I just kind of used that for my marketing purposes, because I said, let's see what happens. And
absolutely,
he lost 15 pounds in a very short period of time, and then went on to lose 43 pounds.
Sounds like I need to try this.
Me too. I'm sold.
No, I've heard about it. Isogenics is great stuff.
Yeah,
I've heard it is.
I've heard of it too.
Yeah.
So anyway, he did. He fell in love with the product, and then he says he fell in love with me.
Oh,
so I never really got to hire him, but
Sure.
he and I together worked the business. In fact, on our honeymoon is when he decided not to go back to work as a dentist. I told him because he was really ready.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why go back? So
Sure.
we ended up
he didn't
going,
really have proper motivation until he met you.
Maybe not. I think he was pretty motivated, but he had actually liked the model of network marketing, and because so many patients through the years had brought that to him, different products, different times, and he actually experienced it but didn't really get it of how simple it is.
Well, and if you believe in a product, if you really love a product, it's an easy easy thing to talk about and share.
It's easy to share, and that's it is. I would say it's a simple business. It may not be easy, but it's very simple. And so you just have to absolutely. What you said is you do have to believe in the product. There's so many companies. There's so many products. Companies come and go. There's so much more to it. So the night I met Scott, he said to me, "Have you written your book yet?" Because I told him my story, and because it's I wasn't really trying to sell him on anything.
Right.
We were getting to know each other for the purpose of doing business together.
Right.
So I told him my story, and he said, "Have you written your book yet?" And I'm like, "No way! I mean, a book?
When are you going to have time to write a book about your story?"
And he's like, "You need to write a book." And so he pushed me until, a while back, I did write a book, and the title of it is Beyond the Red Doors. The name of my salon was the Red Door Salon in Enumclaw, Washington. And I realized that what it was is so many times things stop you. And so I wanted people, like women, to realize I had noticed that many times women will settle for a relationship that may not be good for them because of money, because of their situation, where their kids are,
or their self-esteem even.
Exactly.
Sure.
So I wanted people to push through whatever that red door that was stopping them. So it was sort of a metaphor for that.
That's really cool.
But it was really also the half of the book is about my story of how I went beyond the red doors. Even though I loved my salon, I loved my clients, I needed to have more freedom.
Yeah.
So what happened was then the next step was going into network marketing and helping people to see that it is a storytelling business, and it is a credible business done right. So I wanted to help people with that. And so that's what the book's about. And
people can find it on Amazon?
Yes, right now I've pulled it off
bookstore?
because I wanted to do some revisions. I wanted to actually edit a couple of things.
Awesome.
So people that are at this event, we're going to give a free copy, a gift copy. We'll be sending it out. So
cool.
It actually won't be back on Amazon for about 2 more weeks.
Okay, but it will be updated edition.
Yeah. So on that note, I know you have to get out there, and you're going to be speaking here shortly. I want to let you leave us and wrap up this interview. I appreciate you sitting down with us. How can people find out more about? Do you have a website that you can recommend or tell people to reach out to you?
Absolutely. You can either go to heartfeltnetworkmarketing.com or ShaunaEkstrom.com.
Okay.
How's Ekstrom spelled?
EKSTROM.
Excellent. I know a lot of people, they mix up names.
Absolutely.
I know Chrissy. People can't get Chrissy.
No one gets my name right ever.
It's either with a K or a C or
I know.
or Y
so we
or
covered all those
IE.
bases. If you just spell it halfway, it'll go to me.
Excellent.
Oh, you did. So you put all the URLs that might. That is such a brilliant.
We need to do that with you, Chrissy.
It's so confusing.
Every version. I had to do that with my email address. I did 5 different Chrissy at IamSaltLakes.com.
Well, there
That's
you go.
good. Well, I Am Salt Lake is wonderful. You guys can help me with coming up with a better, easier version, I think.
Hey.
Since we're here to learn about being media ready, I'm open.
We're all here to learn together.
Absolutely.
I know.
Awesome.
I'm so excited.
I appreciate you sitting down with us. Thank you so getting tangled up. Thank you so much, Shauna. I'm going to let you go, but I will be in touch once this episode goes live.
Thank you.
We'll get you a link. Thank you so much. Okay, well, we'll get recording. We're back here at the Get Media Ready event here at 50 West. Say your name one more time. I know you just told me how to say it.
It's Nchopia.
Nchopia.
With Young Professionals, Salt Lake City.
Yes, sir.
You and I have actually corresponded via Twitter. You messaged me and you said, "I love your podcast." Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to be chatting with you today and kind of connect with you, find out a little bit more about Young Professionals, Salt Lake City. I guess we could start there, right, Chrissy?
Oh,
I don't
definitely.
know. It's up to you.
I want to know what this is all about because I just met you tonight.
Oh, awesome.
So tell us, what is Young Professional Salt Lake City?
So Young Professional Salt Lake City, we are a nonprofit organization with the goal of attracting and retaining young professionals to Salt Lake City.
How did you start it?
Yes, I did start it. I moved here about 2.5 years ago, and I moved here because I got a job offer to move to South Jordan area and work at a company in Provo.
Oh, okay.
But when I got the offer, I wasn't excited about it. I feel like I'm the most un-Utah person you could find. I feel like, Utah has a certain stereotype, but here I am. I'm a African-American woman. I'm non-LDS. I don't hike. I'm not outdoorsy. So I'm like, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
But the offer was a good offer. So I said, I'll just take it.
Where did you come from?
Texas.
Houston,
Yeah.
Texas. I've heard of Houston. Have you been to Houston, Chrissy? I've never been to Houston.
It's amazing. I loved it.
So compared Salt Lake City to Houston, I mean, this must be a small city to you.
It's a small city, but the differences between Salt Lake City and Houston, they're good differences.
What's the biggest difference? Do you think?
Traffic, weather.
Yeah.
Cost
I guess
of
it
living?
doesn't get as hot. Oh, hopefully. Here's the thing. Do you think if you're actually successful in recruiting and maintaining young professionals to Salt Lake, the cost of living will still be okay?
Oh, I haven't thought about that.
It's going to make it expensive to live here.
Oh
the
my
cost of
Should
downtown.
we let people know about the secret
Maybe
gem?
we should keep it a secret.
I think so. I mean, the cost of. I live downtown here, Salt Lake City. Well, both Chrissy and myself. And one thing we've noticed is rent, and I mean, just the cost is going up. We hear from our friends, but I mean, it's bound to happen, I guess, in a major city.
It's kind of like a bittersweet problem.
It's a bittersweet problem, but I still think cost of rent is going up all across the nation.
Yeah.
And when you compare Salt Lake City's cost of living to any other major city, it's still going to be lower.
It's so
Sure.
much
Yeah.
lower.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how did the idea of Young Professionals come about?
So whenever I was moving here, I didn't know how I was going to make friends or meet people. So just imagine me moving to Salt Lake City.
Well, it's
from
scary
Houston.
for anybody.
Right. And I'm like thinking, okay, there's this state, based on what I'm seeing on Google, people don't drink. There's not a lot of young professionals there. Like, what am I going to do? So then I thought, okay, so most cities have a young professional organization, and they're usually affiliated with their local chamber.
Sure.
But I did a Google search, couldn't find one. So I said, well, I guess I have to start one. Otherwise, I'm going to be on my couch watching Netflix for my whole time while I'm here. So
it started. What was the hardest thing for you starting Young Professionals, Salt Lake City?
the hardest part was figuring out the right events. So kind of figuring out what people wanted.
Yeah.
And the type of events.
No events. So you plan events?
We definitely plan events. So we host events to bring young professionals together. So imagine being a young professional moving from another city to Salt Lake and you don't know how you're going to meet people.
Yeah.
So we create that environment, a really relaxed, welcoming environment with people who are looking to meet new people. And we bring them together and then they're able to make new friends or network if that's what they want to do, or figure out people to hang out with on the weekends or meet people with their same hobbies. So we just create this environment.
Do you guys use the Meetup platform?
We use the Meetup platform. We're currently migrating away from that platform, but we also have a website, and we use Facebook also.
Now, why are you migrating away from it? Is it not effective?
It's effective, but we find that Meetup has been great to us. In fact, it's how we got our start. But as we are working more with different individuals across the city, we want to make sure that people understand that we're not just a meetup group. So we hear that all the time, right? People think we're just a meetup group, which is fine. We're meetup in a social aspect, but we also want people to understand, like, okay, this is actually a young professionals organization. We're not just meetup based.
Okay, right. That makes sense.
Do you have like an age demographic that you kind of cater to, or is it all ages?
We say young in age or at heart. But what we typically find is our members range from 24 to 35.
I missed the cutoff.
Oh, you're not a young professional. Go away.
Right.
We shall continue the conversation.
I'll be 39 the end of the year. So, I mean, can I still come?
If you feel young at heart, then you're welcome.
All right. Well, no, you could probably actually connect some amazing people for me to bring on the podcast.
Yeah, and it's cool because we have all kinds of people. We have these people who come here. Some people have just started out in their careers. They've just graduated with their bachelor's and they're getting their first job. Then we have mid-level managers. We have higher-level execs for organizations. So we have this cool group of people with this diverse background.
And just multiple industries.
And it's just the coolest thing.
And you're connecting them.
We just connect them.
Do you have any success stories or anything that you...
any marriages that have come out of this?
I haven't had marriages.
How cool would that be?
We have had people who have gotten into relationships.
Really?
We have people who found roommates. We've had people who've gotten new jobs. So it's always cool to see when people are like, oh yeah, I met this person and now we live together. Or now I'm dating this person. Or, now I work with this person because I met them and I talked to them. And it's like, how cool is that? Like, that's what we want. This is what this is about,
That's the whole point of connecting and networking. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Describe, do you have, well, actually, let me back up a little bit. I'm going to ask you a different question. So we're at the Get Media event today. What were you hoping to get out of this whole thing?
I was hoping to get a better understanding of how to get the story out about the organization. We have a little over 2,000 members so far, but I know that there's more young professionals out there who
they just don't know how to find you.
Yeah, they would benefit from this. And then also, we don't charge a membership fee right now for our organization, but figuring out a way to get sponsors for our events, because our leadership team, we come out of pocket for events majority of the time, and we get sponsorships in kind here and there, but really trying to figure out, okay, what do sponsors want? What can we bring to the table, or how do I package what we're bringing to the table in order to enhance?
We're still trying to figure that out with this podcast.
That's the ultimate question, right? Like everybody.
Yeah,
it gets difficult. I mean, I'm sure there's times that you get kind of burned out of doing what you do, right?
Yeah, and it has happened.
So what motivates you to keep going?
I have a team. So when I get burnt out, we are really authentic with each other. So when someone's feeling burnt out, people will say, you know what, right now I'm just feeling burnt out.
Sure.
And then someone will step up and kind of take over that, because there's been times where I'm just like, I work a full-time job, also teach at Salt Lake Community College.
You do?
Yeah. So it's like, and then you have this going on in the background, which I'm extremely passionate about it, but sometimes work gets intense.
Oh, yeah.
And then I have papers to grade, and I'm like, oh, I just can't, like right now, I can't. I need to focus on what pays the bills.
What do you care to share what your full-time job is top of this?
So I work as a leadership and organizational development specialist at a company called Vista Outdoor.
Wow.
Which you may not have heard of Vista Outdoor, but we own Camelback. We just bought Camp Chef, if you're familiar with Camp Chef products.
Okay.
We own Bell, Giro, Blackburn, biking accessories.
So you deal with outdoor equipment, even though you're not outdoorsy?
It's a local company here in Salt Lake, or no?
It's based in Farmington, Utah, which is our global headquarters.
Sure.
But it's a global organization. We have businesses in Europe and Australia.
I'm going to look you up.
It's amazing. Yeah. I love working for
And
them.
you're a teacher at Salt Lake Community.
And then I teach psychology.
Psychology?
Yes.
So did you go to school for psychology?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We are learning all kinds of stuff about you today.
And
That's what I love about this podcast. No, I love that about this podcast. Is just bringing people together here. And so, I mean, well, you know that you've listened to a handful of episodes. I'm assuming.
More than a handful. More than a handful.
Well, no. So you reached out to me and you say you recommend this podcast to young professionals.
Oh yeah, because there's good information here, and it also kind of alleviates the stigma. When people are hearing people on the podcast kind of talk about themselves and they find out, oh my goodness, I'm not the only person who thought that, or I'm not the only person that's like that. It kind of...
It is interesting how people will look from afar and assume everyone has it together. Everyone knows what they're doing. They've never had any problems.
Well, if you go back to the beginning episodes of this podcast, I don't have it together. But I'm still learning. That's
exactly right.
You bring it along the way, and you do it. What is there a piece of advice that you would recommend to listeners, or something that you would tell people that you know now that you wished you known, or what would you tell people listening right now that they're wanting to start a business but they don't know where to go or something?
I would say utilize your resources around you, and sometimes reach out to people around you that you know are going to support you, or do really strong or targeted internet searches to find the information you're looking for. Sure. And then sometimes it's important to just kind of keep your ideas quiet from those closest to you, because if you're passionate about something and you tell people and they don't see where you're coming from, it can be easy to have your spirit quenched if they're not supporting you. And maybe they just don't see what you're trying to do, and that's fine. That doesn't take away from your friendship, but it's important for you to validate yourself and your own ideas rather than looking for someone else to say, hey, that's a great idea, go do it. If you have an idea, go do it. You may fail, but you just get up and you try again.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to ask this question because I know you listen to the podcast. Do you have any favorite local eating spots? I got to ask you. You're a listener of the show. You know I ask that.
Yeah, from Texas. They have great barbecue down there.
How long have you lived here in Salt Lake? You said
for 2.5 years.
So I'm sure you have at least one favorite place, right?
Oh my goodness, I have a lot.
Okay, well then.
Oh, it's tough. Whiskey Street for sure.
Okay, they got a great bacon burger.
Oh my gosh,
have you ever had that? I don't know.
I have had their bacon burger. My favorite thing to get is they have this pulled pork grilled cheese sandwich.
Okay.
Oh my gosh,
it's so good.
That sounds good.
It's so good. Cafe Melisse.
Have I been there?
Oh, you gotta go.
I want to say I've been there.
You gotta go if you haven't. I love Cafe Melisse. And then also the Garage.
Oh, the Garage on Beck.
Funeral Potatoes.
I love the music.
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever get up there for the music
Oh, my
on the
goodness. I
weekend?
go there, I eat funeral potatoes, and then I dance.
Oh, that's amazing. Have you ever seen Corey Mon? They play there a lot.
You know, maybe. I don't ever know the bands by names.
Okay.
But
Great local band.
Always
very good
amazing
local
bands.
band.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I dance. I get my shoes covered in the little red sand, and it's just, it's a great
So you
time.
get out and enjoy this. Okay. Actually, I have another question. So if people are moving here, okay. Actually, this is going to be a two-part question. What would you recommend them to check out besides food? Well, I guess you recommended the Garage and Beck. Also, how to connect with you. So it's just kind of a lot of answers in one question.
Yeah, I would definitely say if you're moving here and you want to know information about the city, definitely check us out, Young Professional Salt Lake City. If you Google us, we'll pop up. But then we're also on Facebook as Young Professional Salt Lake City. We're on Twitter as SYPSLC. We're on Instagram as SYPSLC. So what we try to do is we spend time collecting all of the information about what's going on around the city, so you don't have to. So that we'll send email blasts so that you know all of the things that are going on around the city that we feel young professionals would appreciate. But there's tons of things to get involved with. It just depends on what you're interested in.
And I guess that's kind of a hard question.
Yeah,
there's so much.
It goes back to what you were saying. Utah can be a scary place to move to if you're not familiar with it.
Oh, and everyone assumes the only stuff to do here is hike or ski.
Yeah.
Which I don't do either.
Yeah, me neither.
No, I haven't skied yet.
I keep saying I'd like to get into hiking just because I feel like we have some nature and outdoors.
I mean, it's good. I mean, it's nice
Hiking
for the pictures at the bare minimum, right?
But if you have asthma, just don't even try.
And hiking, if you're not an avid hiker, remember we're at a high elevation.
Yeah.
So it can be hard.
Thin air.
Right. It's hard as you go up. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. But it's fun.
But if you like a challenge.
Yeah, it's fun. I have done it and I've enjoyed it, but I know it's just not my thing per se. Yeah. So, but there's tons of stuff to do.
There is. There really is.
There's tons of stuff. Go out there, meet people. People are nice. People are friendly. They'll take you under their wing.
And there's tons of, there's a whole art culture, music culture, comedy. I mean, anything that you really like, there's a group of people in the city.
Exactly. Yeah. And the Downtown Alliance, they're working with the Salt Lake City Mayor's office to make downtown cool. So there's a lot of things in the pipelines that it's just going to make the city even better. So.
Well, cool. I appreciate you reaching out. I want to bring you on for a full episode. I want to let you get back to the fun and everything today, but I thank you so much for sitting down. Anything else you want to ask her, Chrissy?
Can I follow you?
You can definitely follow, and I will follow you
on Twitter. Yeah,
definitely.
Are you most active on social media? Or not on social? I mean, on Twitter for social media.
We're pretty active on all of them. All of social media.
I heard a lot of people come up to you and say they've met you on Instagram.
Yeah,
so Instagram's definitely where I'm going first.
Instagram, right? Yeah, and I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for what you do and for just making Salt Lake City, getting the information out, connecting us with real people from around the town, and just giving us the behind the scenes look at the city.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
You bet. All right. Many thanks to everyone at the Get Media Ready event for coming on this episode. Great conversations.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for spending time talking to us. I actually learned a lot.
It was a long day, like I said.
It was such a long day.
We were set up by about 10 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. We did our last interview about 8:30 that night. Maybe 9 o'clock. 9.
Yeah.
So we weren't doing interviews all day.
We actually got to watch the speakers and eat some food. They have some drinks.
Have some food and drinks.
Yeah.
And there were some speakers there that, we want to get on the podcast.
Oh,
And there were some other speakers that we did recordings with that we're going to put on future episodes.
Yes. There were some amazing speakers there.
All the links are going to be at iamsaltlake.com/243 for episode 243. We're going to try to get them up there with all the links that were mentioned in these conversations. That way you can go right there, click on them, connect with them, and go check it out. The next time Get Media Ready is in Salt Lake City.
Definitely.
We have some dates coming up.
We do.
I know we mentioned this on the last episode.
Yeah.
And I know you are...
I'm anxious for this event.
You're anxious already, Chrissy.
Yes.
It's really
so
just
anxious.
A couple of weeks away. I mean, it's enough. Our October 1st is I Am Salt Lake Night at Nightmare on 13th. We're going to be recording right up front, out near the entrance. I guess it's the entrance and exit of the Nightmare on 13th. We want to kind of get your before and after stories of the pod or of the before
your experiences
on the podcast.
Yes. Yep. So before you're scared and you're ready to go through and you're just excited, come tell us about it. And then when you're horrified and your life is over because you went through a haunted house, come tell us about it.
And you and I, Chrissy, are going to be recording our
oh my gosh,
reactions, our experience.
We are,
and we're going to piece together this awesome episode.
Yeah.
We're gonna chat with some of the employees, the actors there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which will be really interesting because I've never actually talked to an actor of a haunted house.
Last year, I had Jimmy Dilly, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He was on the episode. We got him. I did that at Nightmare on 13th. That was a really interesting episode. I don't think you've listened to that one yet.
I don't know if I've made it there yet. I'm working on it. I'm working on the backlog.
You're going through that back. Well, there's so many conversations that I've had here in Salt Lake City.
But they're all so, I've learned so much from each one.
And
they're great.
That's the idea of the podcast.
That's
so
the whole point.
October 1st is I Am Salt Lake Night at Nightmare on 13th.
And come be my friend and give me a hug because I have to go through it.
We'll put a link up for the Facebook event invite. That's all we've made up so far. Chrissy made us some really cool banners.
And you can get a discount.
You get a discount right there. I believe it's and actually you don't even need to use these tickets on that night.
Right. You can use them anytime.
It's $6 off during the week and then $3 off on the weekend. But they're giving a discount code to the podcast listeners.
Yep.
Which is great. Thank you so much, Nightmare on 13th. We have some other live shows coming up. We'll mention those on future episodes. Also, make sure to follow us on social media. We're going to be making some announcements with that. But run down the contact information, Chrissy.
All right. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I Am Salt Lake everywhere. And if you want to find me, Chrissy Tweets and Chrissy Shelley.
And that's Kris.
Krissie.
Yeah. Want to make sure to spell that right.
Yep.
Drop us an email, chris@iamsaltlake.com, Chrissy@iamsaltlake.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you're interested in sponsoring any of our events, reach out to us. If you're interested in sponsoring the podcast, reach out to us. Mm-hmm. Or if you just want to say hello, that would be really cool.
We always like to hear from you.
Love to hear from our listeners. Before we go, I have a really great idea that I would like to do. We actually had a visitor here in the office earlier today. Mm-hmm. Former co-host of the podcast, Ryan Prince, stopped by and visited us here and checked out the new office space. And he gave a really cool suggestion that we need to get pictures of the listeners here in our office place.
We do.
We can hang them up somehow.
Yeah.
And that way we know who's out
listening.
there, who's listening. I would love to see the faces.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Of everybody listening.
Yeah.
So take a selfie or something, right? Be a little silly.
Be a little vain.
Be a little vain, and then shoot an email over with your picture and say, "Hey, I'm listening, guys." I don't know.
We'll print it out, put it on our wall. We'll have it. Well, if we get enough of them, we'll maybe put a picture on social media of all of our listeners who sent them in.
Don't you think that'd be cool?
I think that would be awesome. Yeah. It would be really nice to see the faces that we're talking to while we're talking.
Because I know a lot of times I feel like I'm just talking to a microphone.
Yeah.
But voicemail or text 385-202-5926. You can even say hello that way as well. So we're here every week. We want to start doing more episodes of the podcast. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you like that or not. Yeah.
And join our Facebook group.
Join our Facebook group.
That's where we talk about like who we want to get on, what you'd like to hear about.
I feel like we're overwhelming people with all these.
We're very overwhelming.
It's like, do this, do this, do this.
Just pick one. Pick your favorite one. Find us that way.
All right, guys. You guys have a great week. We'll chat again soon. Bye now.